Hello and welcome to the Momentum of Soccer. I am your host, Caleb Dow, who is the handsome man shown before you. Today, we are specifically talking about the different types of collisions in soccer. Let's get started. This is the equation for momentum. Momentum is always represented by a lowercase p and equals an object's mass multiplied by its velocity. The units for momentum are kilogram meter per second. Impulse causes a change in momentum and is represented by the equation I equals force times time and is represented by the units newtons second. The impulse momentum theorem is that impulse equals the change in momentum and can also be written as Ft equals m delta v. This is used in the designing of safety equipment such as airbags. There are three different types of collisions: inelastic collisions, with the subbranch perfectly inelastic collisions, elastic collisions, and recoil. In an inelastic collision, the objects collide together with a loss of kinetic energy. In a perfectly inelastic collision, the two objects stick together and move together as one mass. In an elastic collision, the objects do not stick together and there is no loss of kinetic energy. In recoil, both objects are initially at rest before the collision. Let's begin with inelastic collisions. The first example of a perfectly inelastic collision in soccer is when a soccer ball flies into the goal and hits the net. I don't own a soccer goal, so I used a bush. In this instance, the soccer ball flies towards the net, and then the collision happens. The net catches a ball and slows it down. They move together as one mass, and then the goal releases it back onto the field. This is an example of a perfectly inelastic collision. The second example of a perfectly inelastic collision in soccer is when a goalkeeper catches a ball. As the ball flies in, the goalkeeper catches it and moves his hand backwards along with the ball to slow it down and cause less pain on himself. This is the equation for a perfectly inelastic collision. One example of an elastic collision in soccer is when a player kicks the ball. The player's leg moves to the right while the ball moves downward. The player hits the ball, and the ball flies to the right, and the leg decreases its velocity significantly. The total kinetic energy stays the same. There is some loss from sound and some loss from heat, but not very much. This is the equation for an elastic collision. Notice the difference between it and the inelastic equation. On the right side, for a perfectly inelastic collision, there is only one term, but for the elastic collisions, there are two different terms representing the two different objects. The final type of collision is recoil, but unless you add guns into soccer, there's not going to be any. And as always, thanks for watching.